Yep, shockingly relatable. And I'm assuming not just for me. Together is a dramatic comedy about a British couple that go through the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown together. Isn't that cute? And how the absolutely crushing reality of that situation affects them. The fun part about this movie and its sort of shtick is that right off the hop, it plays with breaking the fourth wall and has both of the main characters talk directly to us, like they're explaining themselves. Who they are, how they're feeling, and just how much they absolutely hate each other. Yeah, real good date movie. And honestly, that setup is the movie's greatest strength and its greatest weakness. It is very funny and entertaining when the characters just start going off at each other, explaining to the audience how they're not in love anymore and how much they just despise one another. But that's all there is. It's a dialogue-heavy movie. That's putting it mildly. If you don't like movies that are set in one location with a very limited cast and not a lot happening other than those characters talking to each other, you're not going to like this movie. I'd wager a guess you may even hate it. On the flip side, if you do like stories like that, stuff like theatrical plays and whatnot of a limited cast, even then, even if you like those, this movie can begin to drag at certain points. With a movie like this, it is absolutely, obviously, all about the performances. And James McAvoy and Sharon Horgan are incredibly good at bringing these two characters to life. These characters that have clearly been together for far too long and are now faced with arguably one of the most stressful situations any of us have had in a very long time. I feel like James McAvoy did a little bit of a better job, but that's only because I think he was given a little bit more to work with. There are two separate scenes in the movie where it's just him getting the chance to flex his dramatic muscle and just talk to us about what's going on in his life. And I remember both of those scenes just a little bit better than the one, albeit powerful, scene that Horgan got on her own. I say powerful because it's these few scenes where the actors get to actually do something a little bit different than the rest of the movie and show these characters' really vulnerable sides. When they share a scene together, it's usually an argument or even an agreement where they are still trying to one-up each other. Not exactly that, but that's what it feels like. And that's where this movie is split for me. The bickering scenes of them together are very funny, interesting, and honestly compelling. The performances command your attention as the two actors play off of each other, and it's very enjoyable. But when the movie slows down and gets serious, it gets a little boring. The performances during these downtimes are still excellent, but just sort of blah when compared to the stellar argument scenes. This is a movie that absolutely seems simple on the surface, but could be picked apart on different levels through discussion, if you really wanted to. It lends itself really well to deep examination as the two characters, as stellar as they are because of the actors portraying them, are really just vessels for us, the audience, to project ourselves into. Yes, the movie does take a stance on its subject matter, but even that, for me, opens the movie up to multiple different interpretations of why one character behaves this way and then that way. And as interesting as that is, the movie ultimately left me feeling let down with its outcome. It takes the Hollywoodish route in order to save face, and I really wish it had just been more ballsy. As I mentioned earlier, it's easy to think of a movie like this as a stage play, and if it hasn't already, I could easily see it being adapted into one. I don't know, that just is one of those things that you notice when you watch a movie like this. Together gets a 6 out of 10 from me, and that's weird for me to say because it is really well done, but I can't ignore the fact of what ultimately the movie left me feeling. Absolutely incredible performances from the two lead actors that offer comedic, fast-paced entertainment are ultimately dragged down by a plot that's more concerned with playing it safe and an ending that's rubbish. British, see what I did there? All right. There actually is one element of the plot that I found super interesting and came across to me as something that is wholly interpretive. And I thought that was the coolest part. It's kind of spoilery, maybe, so I don't really want to talk about it here. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that thought that and took that away from it, but I'd be curious to see what others thought. So what about you? Have you seen Together yet? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one. This is a movie that seems very simple on the surface, but could absolutely be picked apart on different levels Felt myself tripping over my own lips there. Oh my God.